Hello and welcome to yet another episode of Speed Talks, the podcast when we talk about everything tech in financial services industry. My guest today is Mathias Holm Lyster, Digitalisation and AI Lead and Omnichannel at Nykredit. Thank you for joining me today, Mathias.
Thank you.
So the topic of today's conversation is banking with AI, overcoming challenges. There's a lot of big talk about banks and financial companies implementing AI, but today I really want to dive deep into the actual implementations. So I invited Mathias, whose hands-on, let's say, bread and butter is actually working with AI in a large financial services company. Yeah. And I'm really looking forward to your insights, Mathias. Can you initially share some more insights about your current role and Nykredit?
Yeah. Thank you a lot also for having me. So I've been working at Nykredit for almost 5 years, and to begin with being a digital lead, and then I would say here in the last kind of a year's time, we have added AI into it as well, because that has come up and a big part of it. So in Nykredit, I'm really often focusing on bigger transformational digital projects that we are dealing with, often areas of digitalization that will really impact the advisors or the customers in a big way. So if we just look into AI right now and what I'm working with in Nykredit, then we are working on enhancing the whole meeting process for the advisors. And here I'm leading a project where we really want to use AI from the initial contact with the customer wanting to have a meeting, and then all the way to the minutes of the meeting being sent to the customers, and starting actually with the focus on the latter and the first ones. So kind of my main areas are really to try to set some of the ambitions and then drive through the projects together with the technical teams.
So as far as I'm concerned, the solution you're building leveraging AI is your end customers facing. So they will directly, let's say, be involved in the journey with an AI-based tool.
Yeah, that's kind of the goal that we are setting. But right now we are implementing, actually next week, we're implementing a chatbot where we will go, of course, we are in the financial sector, so we will go a little bit, not too fast. So we will start up by having a kind of chatbot built on conversational AI. So that whole structure where we know what it will answer. But kind of next phase is to enable generative AI on that same chatbot. And so we see that as a kind of foundation for us to move on with AI for customer facing. And the second one is kind of the minutes of the meeting. We have to send that out for every contact point, actually, basically, when we have done advice to our clients. And here we actually have a big customer focus in the project, because what we see when we look at the advisors is there's a huge difference in the quality of those that are sent out. Some are super high quality, that is good for their customer, but for efficiency, that's not so good. Some advisors spend more than an hour after the meeting to do that summary and send to the customer, and others really just use 2 minutes, and that's not good. So we really want to enhance the customer experience here as well, and have that as a focus in the project.
So the goal here would be to, on the one hand, implement, let's say, a standard or a universal, let's say, process when it comes to summary of the meeting, but also to, free the time of the employees so that they can start working on something else instead of doing the notes, which I guess is a mundane task that they are not in love with, I guess.
There are some few advisors that really love to do it, but the majority, 98%, they really see it as something that they want off their table. And I think where it really also makes sense, I've done it myself in the beginning of my career as a consultant, being in the meetings with high-level people. You have to do the transcripts of the meetings and all that, and it's just a tedious task. And you need to have really good wording in it, because when a customer then reads it and it's full of spelling errors and all that, and it's not a good image of the bank. So it's also a mentally heavy task to actually write those after the meetings.
So how have you approached this project? Like, where have you started? What was the process, like, step by step?
Yeah, and I would say then in Nykredit we are actually super lucky. So we have a CX board that is really focused on the AI agenda, and they have actually sat down and made their own committee. So they actually ask every business area in Nykredit to come up with kind of a proposals for what to do. And the approach that we took was actually we were already working on another business project looking into the whole process of the customer meeting. And we actually took that and truly looked end to end and looked at how can either digital solutions but also AI kind of help that whole process. And where is this the easiest place to get going? Where is that in that process? So that was actually how we started up in that project. And the another one, the chatbot was pushed from our customer service department, but we also took kind of the liberty to have a look at it with generative AI glasses on and actually also see. And I truly believe that what we will see in the coming year or this year when we enable generative AI is that will create a lot of leads from the web page, because you can say that. So, but in truly we took that kind of a full process. We met myself in PowerPoint, and with some of the partners that we have, we made a kind of an end-to-end flow of just first showing it like a process flow. That's a little bit boring, but then showing kind of the minutes and what can be better. But then actually also just do mock-ups of the whole process and actually sell the dream, you can say, to the different leaders, so they could also really feel what we wanted to do end-to-end process-wise.
Well, sounds like it's a very reasonable approach, because both ideas came down up, I guess, from the actual employees who perceived that this particular space has this, let's say, potential to be automated with AI to some extent. And you took the idea through, let's say, process making, and also included the important step of creating this buy-in within people, that they actually know what it's for, what the results are going to be, what the benefits are going to be, and that sort of expect it to happen. And it's not like implemented against them, but rather with their, let's say, hopes and help. So
Yeah,
what were the
actually,
challenges you let's say, encountered along that way?
yeah. So we actually expected a lot of pushbacks from a lot of the leaders out there. What about AI? Then what about my employees, and how will we adapt it and all that? So that was actually some of the biggest challenges that I at least were expecting. But what we quickly saw was just like in the first POC that we had out, the advisors really just saw it as a help. And the customers as well. So I think we just made it also a really slim, focus. It's about doing these minutes of the meetings and all that, and a lot of the customers' reaction was really, yeah, well, we also do that at my work. That's fun to work with AI. So because we ask for consent for every meeting to do this, and we haven't had any issues to get consent from the customers. So where I really saw kind of, to my big surprise in this project, it was that from my point of view, it's more like, yeah, let's just do Copilot and then go live, because we already had Copilot in. But it's truly that there's really a lack of standard solutions, even from the big techs. You cannot even get one that really suits our needs. Even though we try to put the ambitions down and say kind of just maybe a 70% summary is better than no help at all.
Mm-hmm.
But then we just ran into weird kind of, topics with some of the big players. They don't really have focus on, they're not built. So Teams, for example, that we looked into is not built to really use customer facing. So there's a lot about where it stores its data and all that kind of areas. How do you get consents and all that? It's not super good on that platform. Then we looked at other areas. Then a lot of them is really customer call center focused. And we really want to look at the advisor's time. So that has actually been a surprise, that there's so much attention on AI, there's so many investments in AI, but there's a big lack of, more or less or more plug-and-play solutions in the market, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It would be very handy to pick something off the shelf, even if it's going to be 70% ready and have that 30% customized. But looks like we are not there yet. And the majority of the solutions that, let's say, seem to be ready, perhaps are only on the way.
Yeah, and it is actually, so now we had a kind of quite a few projects working with the kind of the AI itself, and it doesn't seem that it's like, at least in the main projects, it's not the AI itself that puts in the most of the challenges. It's the traditional IT. It's to get the legacy systems and Salesforce and all those different systems just to talk to each other, moving files around, getting the access to move the transcript to the AI, and all those kind of traditional IT hurdles. It's actually those that are the biggest ones.
Yeah, it's funny how you mentioned legacy and then Salesforce, which is basically not necessarily like a super rusty tool. It still might not be compatible enough to be like efficiently and smoothly adapt to AI. But what I also wanted to touch on is that one of the projects is chatbot, which is, well, extremely customer facing. Yeah, it's as you said, it's going to be on your website. Your customers are going to use it. You expect it to drive leads. And my question is that, of course, AI offers that level of automation, but financial services, specifically in the B2C context, which you are at, is remaining a specifically people-centric field. So how do you approach the balance between leveraging AI for efficiency and at the same time ensuring that the customers will still feel valued on a personal level? I mean, which areas or how far can you go with or without this human oversight? Where can you let fully AI take over without compromising that customer satisfaction, and where, how to strike that balance?
Yeah, that's kind of the main kind of area, I would say. So as you also said in the beginning, the team of work is also called omnichannel, and what we view omnichannel is in Nykredit is not just like from a technical point. It's like giving the customers the control and doing on their premise. So I also truly believe with AI it's the same. So if you just look at the simple one, the super simple one, transcripts. If you truly have a customer that says, no, I don't want to have any AI agents doing the transcript, then we should respect it, and the advisors should take the time to write it in hand. The same goes with the chatbots. We will never force the customers into using any of the chatbots and all that, and we have a lot of dialogues, especially also on the phone, for example. So we will always give the customer the opportunity to get a real person on the phone. So I think that's really the biggest area, is about giving the customer the choice. I think a lot of customers will be super happy to use the chatbots for the easy topics, but it will never be kind of a gate in Nykredit that you have to go through to get an advisor. You will always be able to get the direct link in to either get customer service or the advisor. So we will actually just I will say is not the right word, but we will add it in as an additional channel in our omni-channel strategy, and bringing that to the customers as a potential channel they can use.
Interesting. So once both of these projects are live, I guess there's going to be a level of incremental let's say progress in both fields. But what's next on your roadmap? I mean, looking ahead, what are the biggest, let's say, opportunities that will define the next phase of AI at Nykredit?
Yeah, so as I said in the beginning, we are looking at the whole customer meeting, and now we are kind of attacking that kind of process from both ends. So we have the chatbot, which will be kind of in the early stages. We really want that to capture when a potential client or client is in and having a dialogue with us on the webpage. We have a lot of analytical tools on the webpage and use the chatbot actively to maybe get some leads in and book the meetings. Then we kind of, and then we have the other end where we have all those, the summaries and the transcripts. So we actually want to move those two projects closer and closer together from each end. So if you take from the chatbot's perspective, that the customer come more and more into the process, that could be make the chatbot, make the customer ready for the meeting, ensure that the customer send in all the necessary documents, the paychecks, the papers on the house they want to buy, and all that, kind of get that automatic and put it into the right places. And from the other end with the summaries, enable them live in the meetings. So the advisors can get the next best actions and all that. And then in the middle, kind of have that the whole preparation for the meeting for the advisor as well, setting AI up to do that. We actually already have an initiative that we expect to go live with soon that does that now in the current data, looking in all data in Salesforce and bring that together. But then you will have a complete end-to-end process. And then I would say we should look at putting AI agents on top of that. So I think a lot of us have seen the demos of Agentforce that Salesforce are doing. It's always good to have demos. It looks good. I think there's a little bit of a way before we're there. But for me, that's at least kind of more or less the dream scenarios, that you can have AI agents talking to each other and solving a lot of these tasks. So the advisors can truly focus on being there in person or online, kind of really being there in the meetings and the touch points with the customers and spending less time. They spend so much time clicking through systems and prepare for meetings.
I think that's the very, very interesting key takeaway of this conversation, is that here, as a result of implementing AI, you let people do what they do best, and you take off their shoulders, take off their table, things that can be done better without their, let's say, manual input. And that's a very reasonable use case, I would say.
Yeah, and for us, and I think that's maybe also how we do implementations in Nykredit. We really need to ensure that the people working, kind of the advisors and the customers, see value in what we do. So we have other projects where the value for them are maybe less tangible. Yeah, then they save 10 minutes, but it's a hassle to set up or something like that. And then we just see the adaptation is really not there. So truly make solutions that the advisors love and that the customers love. It just helps the adaptation, because then you can have a process. It's safe an hour at a time every time, but it's it's a hassle to start up the program or whatever, and then we just see the adaptation is not there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think as with any other projects, but AI specifically is prone to that, is at the end of the day, it's all about the value of the implementation. I mean, just doing AI for the sake of it won't take you far away.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Matthias, for sharing all that. I think I was trying to take some notes as a summary, and what I really liked is that your initiatives are down up, are a part of a larger initiative of covering the whole process. Is that it's not done by the sake of it, but to actually deliver the value, but not in a way that it would, let's say, replace human, but rather support human so that they can be more efficient in the most, let's say, in the things that human do the best, and the actual face-to-face contact and physical contact, which is still going to be there, is just the AI that's going to be facilitating everything around the administration of that meeting. I really like that. And I think that also was important that everyone says that you have to have the data, etc. But you also mentioned that all of the other systems also have to be ready to be taken to the next level with AI. And that you should not expect that you're going to find a ready-made solution that will just suit your need, but instead to build something from scratch. Yeah, thank you, Matthias. That was Speed Talks. Thank you.
Thank you.